Yo, day 28 of this crazy adventure that I'm on. Like I said yesterday, I was going to put all of each day's video transcripts and the chat prompts into NotebookLM and have a forensics done. That's what I did. So over here, I'm in NotebookLM now. You can see all the prompts and the transcripts. So there's the transcripts from Premiere Pro and the conversations from the LLMs. Okay, so then I was like, okay, I'm going to write this prompt, but I want a good prompt. So I went to u.com where I have an account and chose Claude Opus 4 just to mix things up, not use ChatGPT, not use Gemini, and I basically asked it to write me a prompt to stick into NotebookLM, and it did. It wrote a big old prompt, so big that I had to actually break it up when I put it into NotebookLM and do it in pieces. So I asked for a detailed forensic analysis of the uploaded transcripts, blah, 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 and it spit out a whole shebang. Look at that. And here's me having to break it up and put the prompt in pieces because it was just, I guess, unlike Gemini on the website, there's a context limit in NotebookLM. Makes sense, different product. So I wanted to go over this right now because I haven't really looked at it yet. So I'm going to go through it really quickly. So what I asked for was basically a daily narrative, failure analysis, success identification, key learnings, and let me go back here. Corrective actions analysis, optimal framework for success, additional analysis areas. Okay, so the challenge began with $100 budget, 30-day timeline. The 4 AI models that I used proposed different techniques, and it's interesting to see what these were because I totally forgot about all this stuff. There have been so much stuff that I don't remember half of this stuff. So we were going to do crypto arbitrage or TikTok dropshipping or AI-powered digital product creation, which is what we ended up doing, and AI print on demand plus TikTok Reels viral dropshipping. So I gravitated toward an info product, which was a $5 to $7 teaser product marketed via social media ads to build an email list and then upsell a premium offer. This was later refined into a micro product escalation funnel after several critiques, blah, blah, blah. Day 2, we identified market research gaps. We identified market gaps and rising keywords via the TikTok Creative Center, which I learned through this process. I didn't know that existed. We identified healthy skin because it's got a low CPA, which ended up being true on TikTok, and a high conversion rate, which ended up being false on TikTok. And it was originally going to be a micro offer with a printable PDF Google Sheet for tracking skincare routines, with a premium upsell to a video guide by a licensed esthetician. Boy, did we drift from that initial idea. Then on day 3, we switched to this Notion template and a printable PDF, which we ended up getting rid of the printable PDF. We were going to do ingredient bingo and story stickers. We ended up keeping the story stickers. There was video tutorials that were going to be included. That did not end up happening. PayHip for instant payouts. That was mentioned once and I forgot about it. Then we started to create the actual plan. Blah, blah, blah. So by day 4, we pretty much had a product, right? More or less. Then our first micro product was done in 4 days. Jeez, not bad. Then we had a little bit of a challenge with the premium product. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So if you want to go through and read all this, I'm going to put it up on AI Creators at US. Let's see what it said about the errors. Over reliance on paid ads for a small budget. Yeah. Unrealistic expectations for virality. Some AI suggestions implicitly relied on content going viral, which is an unpredictable outcome rather than a strategic guarantee. Very true. Blah, blah, blah. So, attempting to sell a guide on going a TikTok account from 0 to 10K followers was deemed inauthentic by me, as you lack a large following yourself. That's true, because that was one of the things that was pitched. It was like, how to grow your TikTok followers. So I'm like, but I don't have a lot. I have 645 TikTok followers. How could I, with some kind of integrity, any kind of integrity, market that? So I was like, nah. The upsell was originally $57. That would have been crazy, but it would have involved live sessions, community management, some coupon deals, and it was just a lot of stuff. Execution failures, landing page disconnect. Um, most of my initial clicks didn't go anywhere because there was a bouncing because it took like 10 seconds to load. So I was glad that it kind of showed me that, surfaced that, and I fixed my website because of that. The whole payment gateway thing was another nightmare where it was originally going to be Gumroad, and then the AIs would not let me go there because it was too expensive. Lemon Squeezy still to this day has not approved me, believe it or not. And they actually wrote me an email. Lemon Squeezy actually wrote me an email asking me, well, what are you actually trying to sell? Blah, blah, blah. And I told them, and they're like, well, this is not what you applied with. You kind of switched the thing. And I finally wrote them back. I was like, look, I don't actually need you. So go fly a kite. So Lemon Squeezy, I don't know what the hell the point of that whole thing is, honestly. So I will never be using that. If I'd stuck to my original guns and tested this micro offer, and then if there was interest, do the premium offer, I would have been much happier. And I think going forward, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put things out to test. What's the deal? Is there any point to continuing to build out this funnel? And only if I get positive signals am I going to invest the time in creating the premium product or the rest of the stuff. So I'll have like a basic idea of what the customer flow is going to be and how I push them through the funnel. But as far as building the products, I've got to devise a way where I don't waste so much time on things that aren't going to sell. So, um, note to self, micro offers, micro strategies, micro businesses, and then amplify based on the success of the micro um, products and not waste 30 days. Well, I didn't waste 30 days. I mean, really, it was 3 weeks figuring out things that didn't need to be figured out. Like, why I didn't need to figure out payment mechanisms for a product that was never going to sell. Like, getting approved by Lemon Squeezy and all this stuff was just a waste of time. So, one of my big learnings is launch on things that you already have access to. Um, I already have Stripe, I have WooCommerce, I have various websites, I have social platforms, I already have followers. Leverage those first, test things on there, and then if I need to build something out, you know, only do that if there's been proven interest. So that was a big thing that I learned. Yeah, I went through this whole weird, wasted a lot of time on this Gumroad versus Lemon Squeezy versus Stripe. Like way too much time on platform and collecting money when I didn't have a product that was sellable in the first place. All right, and here in the later days, close to the end of right before I said it was a failure, um, the friction point was me being like, yo, this is not working, and Gemini being like, no, you have to continue to test. You need to continue to put money into ads. And I was like, I'm just not getting good signals here. There's not a conversion. Sure, the CPCs are low, and all that's fine, and plenty of interest, and the ads were doing their job, but there was no conversion. So I wanted to stop even earlier. And finally, by day 23, I was like, nope, I'm not gonna. Even though it's not a lot of money, right? The whole point of this was, $100 is not gonna cause a dent in my life. It's more of an annoyance that I would have to keep throwing $30 on something I knew wasn't gonna turn a profit. So I was like, why even spend the $30? That's like, you know, lunch. So I am glad that I was patient enough to see it through as far as following AI's advice, but it also kind of validated that I was right as far as moving quicker to cancel things that aren't working. So then we switched to this organic T-shirt thing, which is still kind of going. I'm no longer spending money on ads. I'm just releasing reels and see if I get a couple of sales or something like that. Just because I want to keep testing that. I'm testing basically repetition. What characters of mine are resonating so far really is Serene, the one that gets the most attention. But I want to kind of put these characters out there and test them out. And not even so much marketing, but the marketing that I'm doing now is basically I'm creating content with these AI avatars and they're wearing the shirt. But I'm no longer being like, buy my shirt. I'm just trying to see if I can build interest semi organically using AI people. It's weird. It's a weird world, people. Okay, the strategic missteps: over reliance on paid ads for a small budget, unrealistic expectations for virality, yada yada yada. Complex and speculative upsell. Correct. It was way too complex at the beginning, and I think this product can still work as give away the first micro product, so that one that's currently being sold for $7, I have to give that away, and maybe the premium one, add a couple of more things that I wanted to add to it, make it like really robust, and sell that for $7. I mean, it's a digital product. It's going to live online forever. So, I think that's what I'm going to do this week. I'll report back if anything changes with sales. So the success identification. The AI suggestions showing promise or generating returns. The AI-powered digital product creation. The core idea of creating and selling AI-generated digital products was identified as a high probability, low cost, and scalable business model. I agree. You just got to find the right product. The TikTok Creative Center for niche research. That was cool. Definitely. The AI generated influencer videos. That is the future. I mean, I've been doing that way before a lot of other people, and I'm going to continue to do that. Iterative AI prompting, which is basically asking AI to generate prompts for research and to critique its own responses. That was successful, and I'm going to always do that. Basically, the whole criticize your answer technique, and also putting AIs against each other. That was valuable. I did learn, here it says niche validation. You gain crucial understanding of how to identify and validate market demand before investing heavily in product creation. That was a lesson that I learned. I could have done a better job at it. And now that I've gone through this whole thing, I would definitely be more careful as far as how much time I invest into products before I get any signals that there's interest. And I definitely improved my ability to craft effective prompts. Correctamundo. I've learned certain tools. I learned what lemon squeezy was, even though I'm probably never going to use it. I learned about Notion. All sorts of tools surfaced here that, I amplified my knowledge in 3 weeks. Now, now 4 weeks. I learned about TikTok ads. I learned all about analytics and metrics and all this stuff in a deeper way. So that was valuable. Sure. Okay, so here are some key learnings for AI enthusiasts and entrepreneurs from all this. Iterative refinement. Consistently refine your prompts. Actively ask the AI to critique its own previous responses and generate new prompts based on evolving insights and data. This iterative feedback loops significantly improves the quality of AI guidance. If you guys noticed, I would sometimes use just the words criticize your response, and it would think again and give me a better answer. So I highly recommend doing that. Some of the main limitations, I guess the biggest limitation was real world intelligence. A lot of the data that Gemini would give me was outdated. So it would say, do this in Notion, do this in whatever. And when I would go to Notion, the screens would change, the names of fields would change. So it is a little frustrating that things aren't up to date, but you can kind of get around it by feeding it um, URLs to user manuals or documentation explaining the tool. All right, so the summary here, this is kind of important. AI as a strategic partner, not a sole decision maker. AI is a powerful tool for generating and analyzing data, but human intuition, experience, and critical judgment remain indispensable. By me turning everything over to the AI, or most everything, um, and not challenging it early, you know, although I learned a lot from this whole experience, it did take me to a point of failure. If it would have been a little bit more um, self-reflective on like, hey, I told the user this, but we're not getting the result, rather than I'm going to stick to my guns, um, we might have had a little bit more success. So the user's ability to identify a dead video or a critical landing page flaw based on qualitative data, Hotjar in this case, proved more valuable than some of AI's quantitative analysis. So I was the one who implemented Hotjar. AI did not tell me to do that. So I'm still way better of an analyzer and a strategist than AI, clearly. So dynamic adaptation. The most successful approach involves a continuous dialogue where both human and AI learn from ongoing results and adapt the strategy accordingly. It is a team effort, and AI is still inferior as far as strategy and coming up with ways to solve things out of the box thinking. All right, some of the corrective actions. Here it says, rather than do what I did, this AI powered service arbitrage model was identified as it says absolute best strategy, just as a good strategy. Eliminating ad spend risk and providing faster cash flow through direct client outreach. I just didn't want to start sending out DMs and dealing with like that, you know, human interfacing via chat. I wanted it to just be a send something out, have people pay me, and receive what they're paying for. So it was just a totally different model. All right, one of the biggest things that I learned was this: organic signal testing should be mandatory and precede any paid advertising. And I'm going to adopt this from now on. So creating 3 to 5 short videos, teasing a solution, and measuring saves, shares, and comments across multiple platforms, right? So you got to put it on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram,